Hello everyone, how are we doing today? Before I begin, again, I did another script for the video by myself, so I just wanted to let you know this isn't going to be totally off the cuff, but all the ideas are out of my head. Today I'm going to talk about how I would continue my DC cinematic universe, with my first film being a twist on a new Batman film. And if you haven't watched this, I would watch that one first before continuing on this video. Link in the description and on the ad one if I can figure out how to do it. Still new, so let's see. As stated, this is going to go through my second movie in the list and a detailed description of how I wanted this to play out. And yes, I am late on this video, but you'll get one today and one video tomorrow. I'm going to try to put a weekly video out still, but we'll see if that continues. The first few videos, sorry about that, will be my reboot. So if you're not going to enjoy a few random videos, then let me know and tell me in the comments what videos you would like. I think I will be doing a first time in League of Legends TFT ranked video after my DC Cinematic Universe is finished. So if you want to see something like that, give it a like in the comments. Anyway, enough ranting. Let's get into the second movie in my universe. It starts off where we ended last time, seeing the back of Superman's cape, but in an action shot. We follow Superman as he flies towards a massive yellow monster. So you can't see his face at first. This monster is bigger than Godzilla. It's bigger than the monster in the new Superman movie too. And you see Superman fly straight into the monster. No hesitation, just pure bravery. He hits the monster's belly and bounces off. As the camera pulls away, with Superman flying back after bouncing off from this massive monster and the massive hit, you see it's Luke Evans, who has grown a beard for the role to make Superman look older with his silvering hair and beard. As you see Superman, he goes in again and flies at the monster with blistering pace. Hit him again in the exact same place in the valley. The monster seems to be stunned from these two hits, and the camera goes into a first-person view from Superman's eyes, and you can see he is looking up and down the monster and the camera changes to his heat vision, and you can see certain parts are hotter than others on the monster. As you see these hot parts, the camera changes back to the side view of the fire. Superman flies straight towards the hot spots and meticulously hits them with all his power. The Godzilla type monster is trying to swipe back at Superman as he flies around, but Superman's too quick for him. The monster's getting weaker and weaker with every hit. Superman sees this and goes further back and goes in for one final blow. Superman, with one fist, flies into the belly, where he hit the monster originally, and digs into the flesh, proceeding to fly up the monster's body. You can see his hand carving through the monster as he flies upwards, sort of like a big, massive uppercut. As he gets to the top of the monster starts to split in two and starts to fall onto the buildings nearby. Superman tries to rush to stop it crushing the building and any of the people inside, but the monster turns into a yellow, shining light, which then forms into a line, which starts to recede away from Superman. Superman notices the line. He proceeds to follow the line to the Sahara Desert, a whole world away from where the monster was originally. As he flies up past one of the sand dunes, Sinestro pops out from behind, played by Ben Daniels. You might be thinking, why Sinestro? Don't worry, that'll be answered in the coming movie. Sinestro says, well, aren't you excited for Sunrise, Kal-El? Let's make this a fun fight. Superman flies at him with breakneck pace. Superman exclaims, you can't keep trying to harass the civilians of Earth. I must stop. As the word stop comes out of his mouth, A yellow bubble engulfs Superman's head, and he hears Sinestro sadistically laugh. Ha 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 ha. The next moment, you see Superman's ship crashing into Earth. Outlines of John and Martha Kent in the background as it crash lands. Superman blinks, and we are now into the main part of the movie, Superman's memories. The next memory is a shot of Superman when he's around 8 to 10, starting to lift John Kent's tractor over his head out of a ditch. He's struggling, but he gets there eventually. The next memory is the first peek at Superman as a teen, played by Michael Bishop, who played John Kent in the Superman Lois series, so I thought it would be nice to show him as actual Clark. In this memory, Clark is wearing a suit, and he walks into a small Italian restaurant, and Lois Lane is sitting there, played by Caden Brenner Tarkowski. The full date is shown with Clark being awkward but still confident in parts, and Lois trying to get him to talk more, and at the end of the date, Lois stands up and says, "Do you want to be my boyfriend, Clark?" Clark says, "Yes, of course, Lois." Takes her in his arms and kisses her, showing it's a big memory in Clark slash Superman's head because we get to see every single course and every single little bit of what is happening in this date. The following memory is the prom night for both Clark and Lois. You see Clark driving the tractor from the scene where he picked it up earlier and the suit from the scene before as well. Clark goes up to the door and picks up Lois. He pulls her into the prom party with Lois in his tractor, gets laughed at by everyone at the prom, and one of the guys starts to try to bully him, but Clark is standing his ground. The bully tries to punch Clark. Clark catches the punch and uses his own fist to hit him again. Clark turns around to Lois saying, "Sorry about that. He's just not running our night." You see their first dance at the prom with a slow song in the background. You hear the prom queen is announced as Lois, and the prom king being announced is Lex Luthor. Pure shock. Who goes up on stage? And it was the bully from the earlier with a black eye. I haven't got an actor in mind for this one, so any young actor with a bald cap, if you give me an idea on who in the comments below, that would be great. The next memory is still young Clark, but in his first day in the Daily Planet, as he sees the young Lois across the way. Clark says, "Hi Lois." Lois ignores him, and this is the first time we see Superman snap out the memories. He breaks through the yellow bubble engulfing his face and looks around the desert and does not see Sinestro, but hears with his super hearing a scream of a young woman in the distance. Ah! He rushes for the scream and sees the young woman at the dark end of the dark alley. Superman shouts down the alley, "Is everything okay with you?" The woman comes forward, and it is young Lois, snarkily saying, "No, you didn't want me anymore." And the yellow bubble tries to engulf Superman's face. Fails for the first time, but a second one soon engulfs his face before Superman can get away to try and find where Sinestro is. The sadistic laugh of Sinestro can be heard in the distance again. Ha 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 ha. The next memory of Superman is using the main actor again, Luke Evans, and you see General Zod across from him, played by Richard Armitage. You see a massive fight between a middle-aged Superman, but a lot younger from when we first saw him. In his memories, Superman has no beard and is fully jet black hair and no aging marks, so looks a lot younger than where he was before. In the fight, you can see Superman is holding his own, but slowly losing the fight to Zod, as Zod is just being more brutal, trying to kill him, as you see a glint in the distance and hear a shot. The next shot is through a sniper scope watching the fight. A shot is fired. You see a green bullet coming out of the chamber, and you follow the bullet into the fight between Zod and Superman. As the bullet impacts, you see them both hit each other in the face. Poof, and they both go down. So you're unsure which one got hit. From the dust, Superman stands up, slow, slowly, bruised, and notices Zod is down on the floor with the bullet in him, struggling to breathe because it's kryptonite bullet. Superman picks up Zod and flies him to Gotham, to Arkham Asylum, and puts him in an airtight cage with kryptonite UV lights within the chamber. Before Superman can fly away, Batman grabs him and says, "You better thank me that I'm a good shot." Superman blinks, and we go to the next memory. And Lex Luthor, who is now President of America, played by Stillian Kelly, this time Lex is putting in place a mandatory law which is against everything Superman stands for. Kind of like Purge law or something similar. I haven't got it exactly down, but it can be fleshed out. Clark is trying to fight against it with the newspaper, but they won't let him publish the column because everyone loves Lex as president, but Clark. Lex is somehow manipulating everyone in America with drugs in the water to make them believe they want this law, and Clark knows this, so starts to work on a cure, as he has tried to stop the water going to Metropolis, but that did not work. He starts getting Cat Grant, played by Brienne Howie, involved, who is now his girlfriend, as Lois is still mad at him, as you see in the next scene in Daily Planet, with him trying to explain his plan to her about the cure. Clark gets the full meal down eventually, but choosing not to give it to Cat Grant, they're instead giving it to Lois. Lois passes out. Clark uses his vision to ensure she is still alive. She is. And she wakes up and jumps into Clark's arms and kisses him, crying, saying, "I wanted you for so long, and now I have you. We can't be mad at each other again." The next memory is Lex in his mecha suit fights with Superman. Superman is taking hits, and you can see Lex has kryptonite in his mecha suit hands. So every hit Lex lands, Superman gets weaker. As Lex goes in for the last hit, Superman grabs the mecha fist and says, "Not this time, Lex." Lex responds, "Looks like it's who I thought it was, Clark Kent himself." Superman hears a massive explosion in the background and snaps out the memory. He's still in the back alley, and Superman this time steps out the alley and sees on the TV that Sinestro is now in the middle of Metropolis, walking about in a suit, and the news reports the Daily Planet saying, "Is Sinestro the new savior of Earth, and Superman really the villain?" Superman gets super pissed and runs to Metropolis. As he gets there, Sinestro is standing in front of the people of Metropolis, giving a speech. He interrupts his speech and says, "Look, it's my next victim. Everyone, Clark Kent, will be the next one to have his memories exposed." He says this. Superman tries to use his super speed to shut him up, but Superman gets stuck in a full body bubble, this time after dodging a few head bubbles like before, showing that he's learning Sinestro's moves, but just couldn't predict the last. It snaps back to where we were fighting Lex, and the explosion's just happened. Lex says, "My plan is completed now, Clark." Bless me. "What are you going to do? Stop me, or stop the rest of our plan?" Superman hits Lex with his fist. Bam! Just like before. It says, "It looks like I can do both, and you forget how strong I am." Superman carries Lex out of the suit away from the kryptonite and proceeds to fall in the middle of the street of exhaustion from withstanding the kryptonite. Superman wakes up in Batman's cave. Batman says, Alfred, open the sunroof. Our patient is awake. The voice of Alfred says, Can do, Master Bruce. Batman jumps down from the railing and says, Clark, you have to stay still. You are seriously hurt from the kryptonite. We will take care of you. So we've jumped back in time still, and we're using Bruce's Batman again. Superman falls back asleep, and the camera jumps into his next memory, which is straight away Batman waking up in the Batcave to tell Superman Zod has escaped from Arkham with Lex's help. He needs, ah, he needs, I need your help to capture him again. Superman responds, Of course, I can, but this time they need to stay imprisoned. The scene cuts, and we go back to the Sahara Desert with Zod, standing there with his full strength army that he was called in. Superman alone floating off the ground. Superman says, Zod, you must be captured again. Enough of the games. Let's get to this. The fight ensues. Superman is destroying Zod's men. Zod hasn't moved since the start of the fight, which is weird. Superman beats all of Zod's men and asks, So how did you escape? A distant voice of Zod is heard, and the other Zod's mouth doesn't move. Weird. And Zod says, Lex got me out. Lex then butts in and says, We have a plan, and your precious Lois is here to see you die. Zod flies at Superman. Superman flies at Zod. Lex jumps out from the sky onto Superman's back before he reaches Zod. Bang! Superman flips himself and chucks Lex off himself. Lex in the mecha suit again. Superman exclaims, Lucky, you're not the only one with somehow, as Batman jumps down in a mecha suit, but not alone. There's Red Robin in a mecha suit as well. The fight between Batman, Red Robin, and Lex starts as the fight between Zod and Superman starts. The camera flicks between each fight, and you can see that Superman has been learning from Batman. He's got the close quarters combat and a vary of martial arts skills, and he's working effectively against Zod. In the other combat, you can see Lex is doing great against Batman and Red Robin. Batman exclaims, These suits aren't prepared for this, as Lex starts to call in other mecha suits that jump into the fray. Batman and Robin lose to Lex as Superman is about to win against Zod. Lex jumps back and grabs Lois and says, Look at this, Superman. Your woman, she's so helpless without you. As Superman loses focus for a second, Zod, with his laser eyes, slices through Lois's heart. As she drops down, limpless and dead in Lex's right arm, Superman gets super pissed again. He lets out a massive cry, and his laser eyes activate, and they're stronger than ever before. You hear a shot. As this shot goes through, Superman slices Zod in half from the left of his waist to the top right of his shoulder. Pure shock on Zod's face as you see the bullet hole in his head and his body sliced into, and he slumped to the floor. Before you can process this, Superman is still super pissed and starts to move his laser eyes towards Lex. The camera switches back to Batman. He now has a kryptonite grenade in hand that says, I think this is the only way we can save everyone. Red Robin nods his head. You hear the explosion. The camera cuts. We are back in the Batcave. You see Batman at the computer. He presses the button to the sunroof himself. You hear an explosion. You hear a voice in the distance, coming down towards Superman. Clark, the world has seen everything. The whole world saw your memories. Everyone knows your identity. You see Bruce come into frame. The same actors before from the first movie, Barry Bostwick. Superman asks, "What happened to Sinestro? I need to deal with him." Bruce says, "You did. Damian, take the suit off and show Clark what happened while he was basically asleep in the bubble." Damian proceeds to follow Bruce's instructions and brings Clark a tablet to watch the news. Watch a news report, which shows the memories, but you are watching from behind a crowd where you can see the TV screen, where you also see Superman in the bubble and Sinestro next to Superman in the bubble, shouting to the crowd. Sinestro is explaining how much of a bad person Clark is and how much of a villain Superman actually is. The crowd is murmuring, maybe he's right. But then when they see Lois get killed on screen, the riot starts. Everyone starts throwing stuff at Sinestro on the stand. All the stuff is hitting him, but also hitting some of the bubble. It creates a small crack in the bubble, and the sun comes through. Superman is able to crack out the bubble because of this. You can see there is almost yellow molasses around him. Superman opens his eyes, but they're pure yellow. You can tell he can't see. He's just blindly hitting around. As he finds Sinestro, he starts beating him down. Sinestro is trying to fight back, but is completely losing Superman's strength. Superman gets him close to being dead, and Superman says, "You are a lucky person. I am the person I am. Or else you would be dead just like Zod." Superman throws Sinestro out the planet. He keeps going, 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 until the camera pans back to Superman. As he collapses, with the yellow molasses pouring out of every orifice, Damian then says, "You did everything you right, and killing Zod wasn't your fault, and Lexi's right arm was just a casualty of the fight. Let's get back to health now, Clark." As he starts to go down Superman's throat and pulls out a yellow goop, a lot of it. Superman says, "I think it's time I stop being so lonely, and let's try this group thing again. Do you know where Diana is, Bruce?" Cuts the end scene credits. After the credits, you see Sinestro, battered, nearly dead, crash into the planet. You see a mysterious human figure walking towards him without a right arm, ominously. Cuts the movie. I know this is an even longer rant, and the movie isn't going to be perfect. It probably would need some more talking points to explain certain elements, but I think this was a good start to another spin off on a Superman movie. Tell me what you think in the comments. This script took me over a day to write, so I would appreciate any feedback. And if you would like and subscribe, that would be awesome. Pie Player signing off.